Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the channel. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching. So today we are getting the 408 cleaver put into the car, and what I need to do now is get my clutch on. And I figured for those of you who have never put in a Mcleod RXT, basically it's a twin disc clutch. I'm going to walk through the process with you guys so you can see what's going on and learn a little bit along with me. So this is the 408 cleaver, and if you don't know what a cleaver is, there's going to be a link up here, but it is Cleveland heads on a Windsor block. Now, a Windsor block is a Ford, it's a 351. The 302 is technically a Windsor too, but they don't call it a Windsor. So these are Cleveland cylinder heads, and we've got a 351 Windsor block. Now the Boss 302 in 1969 also came with the same setup. It was the Cleveland heads on a 302 block. The difference is the width here, because the deck height is taller on a 351, so the intake manifold is wider here. So that's the basic differences, but if you want to know more, I'll put a link up here. For now, we're going to go about getting that clutch in. So I've got a billet steel flywheel. Just had this bad boy resurfaced. We're gonna put it on. And before I do that, I've got some Loctite tape, thread locker, and then I've got my ARP bolts for it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got them all. So now that I've got my thread tape on all my bolts, we're gonna go ahead and get the flywheel in. Put all these guys on here hand tight. First things first, got the flywheel on, the bolts are started. We'll go ahead and snug the bolts down. We'll torque them down also, and then we'll get started on the clutch. So I like to do them in a couple rounds. We'll do 20, 40, 80 is usually what I do. I was going a crisscross pattern. There's 20. And the final torque, 75 to 80. There we go, flywheel's on. I've already cleaned this with brake clean, but I'm going to shoot it one more time, and then we will get to putting the clutch on. Alright, so the first thing we got to do is find our alignment marks, and this comes right here. So it's all aligned that way, which is super. Then we take off these. Attention to how they come apart, because it's very important, right? So we've got our washer, and then our lock washer, and then the nut goes on top. That's first things first. We're going to get our flywheel cleaned up. Again, we just want to make sure that we don't have any nasties on there from when we had it resurfaced and been sitting around in the garage a little bit. So we'll make sure we clean it off. Got some brake parts cleaner. We'll give it a good rub down. And then on this disc, see, this one will say flywheel side or bottom. So that one's the bottom disc, and it's the flywheel side. I'm going to put this guy on first. Put our adapter on. All right, guys, for those of you who are doing this for the first time, you'll notice that on these there's your dowel pins, right? Those are used to align this. And at first it's challenging if you don't know, but these smaller holes are actually back behind these springs. So those smaller holes are what's going to line up with your dowel pins. So you'll have to watch those carefully, get them lined up, and slowly get it on there. Then you'll notice that all your bolt holes will line up, and we'll be good to go. The retainer ring bolt snug down first, and then it says to make sure you double check that the disc moves freely after you do that. So we will do that part. Got to snug down and That sounds good. So we can freely move that disc. Now we got to install the top disc. So we got to make sure our flywheel side goes towards the flywheel. The only thing that I wish, and I should probably do it, is to cut that so I can just slide this over it, but we will take our tool out, put in the new disc, and the same thing in the other one. There we go. Clutch alignment tool is fully seating, so that's a good thing. And now we do the pressure plate onto the studs. And we make sure that we line everything up with our mark here. So, we'll find our alignment mark right there. Just like so. Now it's very specific on the way that you install the washers and spacers and whatnot onto the studs. So it says install in this order: 6 flat washers, 6 lock washers, and 6 nuts onto the studs, finger tight. Do not use thread locker. Flat washer first, then our lock washer, then our stud, or our nut, sorry. Finger tight. At this point, we've got the adapter ring bolts tight. We torque those down to specs, 25 foot-pounds, and then we installed our middle ring and then our pressure plate. And now the star pattern is very critical here, so we're going to make sure that we go, they suggest 1, 7, 3, 9, 5, and 11. I prefer not to use adapters when I'm doing this, so if I have a half-inch socket that'll fit right onto my torque wrench, I will, especially in this case. So we're going to set our torque wrench to 25. We'll tighten them down on our sequence, so we'll go here, to here, to here, to here, to here, to here. Alright, so there's 25. Now we go to 35. Same pattern. Alright, we'll double check, make sure we got everything good. There we go. Our alignment tool goes in nice and easy, so that's a bonus. That. There's a Mcleod twin disc clutch install. If you guys have any comments or questions, put them below. This is pretty self-explanatory. They have a good set of instructions that they send with it. Now at this point, they request that you check right here. So we're going to check the diaphragm finger height right now, and they just suggest to put a straight edge across the opening here and make sure that all the fingers are at or below there. So we're going to take our alignment tool out. We know that that fits in there nice, bottoms out. We'll take our alignment tool out. Then I'm going to use, I think I've got a speed square handy. Yeah, so I've got a speed square, typically used for framing. So we're going to use that speed square and check our depth and make sure everything looks good. There we go. See, that's what they're asking you to check. We've got good clearance there. And then the next thing that our instructions tell us to do is to continue with the bell housing, throw out bearing, and transmission install. And they said that the clutch release clearance can be checked. So once we get it all installed, you can check your clutch release clearance, and this says you should have between 2 hundredths and 25 hundredths of clearance between each disc at full clutch release. So that's good to know. So what we'll do is we'll get it installed, and then we will check the we'll push the clutch in and we'll check the clearance that we've got between everything. So I'm not going to run you guys through that. I'm not going to put this, I don't think I'll be able to get this all the way in the car tonight. So there will be a later date. If you guys want to see a video, let me know in the comments below. But for now, I'm going to get this engine installed so that I can get some braking miles in it. They do recommend 500 miles of brake-in on the clutch, and I do need to brake in the engine as well, so I'll be braking in the engine and the clutch together, which will be nice. So I'll be able to get some braking miles and everything. This is where she's going. This will be her home. So I've got a TKO 600 that is in here. It's a 26 spline input shaft. It'll work really well with that clutch. So I'm super excited. I'm going to put the new throwout bearing on just because I've got it. I want to make sure that I use it. I don't want to take this part again if the throwout bearing starts making noise. The one that I've got in there is not that old, but better safe than sorry. All right, guys, I'm going to get at this engine install. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Have a good one.